Shall we start, Dr. Shema?
اتفضلي يا دكتور.
Good evening, everybody. Delighted to be with you again. We will continue our journey to discuss the art and science of scientific research. So, as we start our journey, we are starting from having an idea for our research, and then we will end by publication of our research. So now we will have some flashback about our previous lecture. We discussed the steps of doing scientific research, starting from having a research idea, and then we had some literature search, and then we wrote our research question, and then we will follow to choose our study design and data analysis and data collection, and then we'll move to how to write our research. And as you know before, that literature search is a very tedious and very difficult task in order to find the suitable literature and in order to revise them. And we know that we can have the help of artificial intelligence in doing that. So artificial intelligence can help in idea generation, in literature review, in literature revision, and to summarize the literature in order to facilitate having a good idea for our research. Also, we discussed the different types of study design. We talked about the qualitative type and the quantitative type and the mixed type of research. And now it's your turn to share your idea. So what we need now is whoever wants to share his idea, we want to know the title of your research or any research, either your project or any other research, and what is the type of study design that you choose for doing this research. So who wants to start?
Okay, I
So
can
you are
start, Dr.
invited.
Amal.
Yes, please.
My research, it's intervention, and I will assess the basic knowledge.
Can you tell us the title first, Doctor?
Yeah, okay.
The title?
It's the elective development of an elective course on ethical uses of artificial intelligence among medical students. Postgraduate medical.
Development of
elective course
yes,
on ethical uses of artificial intelligence.
Yes.
Yeah. Among postgraduate students.
Graduate students. Faculty of medicine. Whatever, faculty of medicine. Okay. So Dr. Amira, your title, you are going to develop. Yes, please. Okay. Yes, Dr. Amira.
Other as intention. Okay, so I assess their knowledge before intervention, which is a training program or the elective course, and then they will attend the sessions. Then I will give them the same tool to assess, both to measure the difference in their knowledge and the skills. So it's a quasi-experimental. It's one group pre and post.
Yes. Okay. So Dr. Amira is going to do a research on some group of students, and she will give them or she will enroll them in a course about artificial intelligence, and then she will have a pre-test and then post-test, and then we will discuss now what type of research she is going to do. So now, is this an intervention research? I want Dr. Amira, she knows that, but this is an intervention research or an observational research. So I want our colleagues, whoever want to share his idea, is this an intervention research or it is an observational research?
Intervention.
Intervention research.
Intervention.
So whoever say observation, why it is observation, and whoever say intervention, why it is intervention.
It's intervention.
Okay. Okay,
It's
sir.
for quasi-experimental design because she will use manipulation and she has manipulation control. I don't know if Dr. Amira will do randomization or not.
Okay, so now we will have some items to discuss. Now this is not an observation research because she is going to intervene. She is going to give a program and she is going to do a pre-test and post-test. So this is not an observational research. It is an experimental research, okay? And
Okay.
as you remember, if it is an experimental research, we have two main types of experimental research. Either we have the randomized control study. In this type, we are going to select randomly group to be the study group and another group to be the control group. So we will ask Dr. Amira, are you going to randomly select anybody to be in a study group or control group?
No, I can't make randomization because the student should be self-enrolled in the course. So I don't have even two groups. It's only one group without
Yes,
randomization.
So Dr. Amira, she doesn't have the luxury to randomize students. She has to give all students the same course. In this case, this is an experimental study because she's having an intervention, but at the same time, she is not doing any randomization. And this will put us in non-randomized experimental study, right? So now we are talking about non-randomized experimental study. And as you know, the non-randomized experimental study is called at the same time quasi-experimental study. So what is the meaning of quasi? Quasi as if it is experimental, but it is actually, there is no randomization. Okay, so the study design of Dr. Amira is quasi-experimental study, and there are many types of quasi-experimental study, but she chose one of them, which is to do pre-test for the group and then to give them the lecture or the program, and then she will do post-test she will have a post-test for the same group, and this is called pre-test, post-test, quasi-experimental study. So it is an intervention study, and it is experimental study, and it is not randomized study. That's why we call it a quasi-experimental study. Any question? Is it clear or not clear? And if you have any question about this study design. And this is a very good example of experimental study, which is non-randomized. So is it clear?
Yes, yeah, doctor.
Okay, so can we have another example or another experience?
Yes, doctor, can I share?
Yes, please.
Really, my research in Isiomena is quasi experimental. But can I
Yes.
share my MD thesis
Yes,
title?
of course, of course.
It is the title isothermal amplification in comparison with real-time PCR for diagnosis of H. pylori infection.
So I want some of any of our colleagues to share his experience or to share his opinion. Is it an experimental study or observational study from the title?
Can you repeat the title again, Dr. Ahmed?
Dr. Gamal or Dr. Ahmed?
Yes,
Dr. Gamal.
isothermal amplification in comparison with real-time PCR in diagnosis of H. pylori infection.
So is this one is an experimental or observational study?
Observational.
Experimental.
Why observational?
He he didn't do any manipulation or control group. He just comparative study.
But he is going to do some tests.
Yes.
He will do
You're
some
going to
tests.
do some tests
Yes.
before and after.
No, he is going to
يعني
compare two groups.
يعني
Dr. Gamal, can you answer the question?
Yes, we have two groups, a diseased group and a healthy group. For each group, we will compare two diagnostic tests. The old one,
you will
real-time
do the
PCR,
diagnostic test or you compare the diagnostic test.
we should do to compare.
Compare, but you intervene, you do intervention.
Take a sample. We will take a sample from each diseased group or healthy group and doing a diagnostic test for both of the new
يعني
test and the old test.
يعني you have diagnostic group with the disease and the group without disease, right? Or both the
Yes,
group have the disease.
one
يعني
disease
group
and
with
one
disease,
healthy, one disease, one with group was healthy. For both, we will compare.
this is control study.
So now this is an
It is
experimental
experimental.
study. Experimental
Yes.
study, Dr. Gamal is going to compare
Yes.
two intervention, two techniques on the patient, and he will have a study group and control group. And this group is randomized. Right, Dr. Gamal? You are going to randomize
Yes,
the
it
case.
is randomized.
So we are
Just
going to.
clinical randomized trial.
So it is a randomized control study. It is a randomized control study. So it is an experimental study, and there is a control group and study group. So we call it a randomized control study. So thank you so much, Dr. Gamal and Doctor, for your comments. And any one of our colleagues want to share his experience or any previous research? Any of your previous research? Okay, can you share your idea and your project in the FAMR? Any one of you want to share the idea of the FAMR project?
I'm doing also like my colleague. I see the effect of three.
Can you tell us the title, please?
Yeah, the effect of universal study learning design, gamification, and the social emotional learning on faculty member development and student academic achievement.
So what are you going to do?
I'm gonna to test these two models on student achievement.
So are you going to have any randomization?
No, it will be quasi experimental design.
So there is no randomization. Okay, so you
Yes.
are going to test something or no randomization. So this is in the group of experimental study, but it is a non-randomized study. So it is a
Yes.
quasi-experimental study. So I
Yes.
want anybody of you to share his experience in doing research that is not interventional. Any observational study, any cohort study, any case control study, any qualitative study. Do you have any of these studies in your experience?
I just published a research on its integrative literature review on AI and the nursing practice.
Can you say it again?
Integrative AI and the nursing practice, integrative literature review.
So what did you do?
I'm doing like screening all the article that's using AI in nursing practice, And like I'm doing evidence-based practice to see how to much extent AI interfere in nursing practice.
So you are collecting data from literatures, and you have
From
this is like
literature, yes.
it looks like the systematic review.
Systematic review, yes.
It is a systematic review. So systematic review is one part or one type of the research methodology, but it is depending on collecting many different articles in one article to know what is with and what is against, and to highlight the opinion of different, what we say, the players in the field. So systematic
Yes.
review is one of the best research design, but it is a collective research design. We cannot put it under the observational study or the experimental study because it is a separate category of study design. Okay, so let us move. Today, our agenda, we will talk about how to write your research. So you know we started already our steps in doing research by formulation of our research question, and then we selected the study design, and then we know an idea about how to carry on data collection and data analysis. And today we are going to focus on how to write your manuscript. Okay, so writing scientific manuscript for publication actually is an important, and also it is a challenging form of knowledge dissemination. And it is an art and science. So writing a scientific research is an art of telling a vivid and carefully sequenced story. And it is an art of convincing others in doing in what we did. And also it is skills, and these skills born from practicing. So you need to practice doing research many times in order to accustom or in order to master the science and art of doing research. Now we will go step by step on how to write our scientific manuscript. But before writing, we have to know what is called the anatomy and physiology of a scientific paper. So what is the anatomy of the scientific paper? Scientific paper composed of the title, the abstract, the introduction, material method, results, discussion, references, and of course it contains the tables and figures, and this is called the legends of the scientific paper. And what about the physiology? To know the physiology is to know the function of each part of this and how to write each part of these sections in the scientific paper. So this is what is called the anatomy and physiology of scientific paper. Also, sometimes we call the structure of scientific paper is emirate, and emirate stands for the introduction, the material methods, the results, and, which is small, the discussion. So the structure of scientific paper, either we are going to follow the title, abstract, introduction, etc., or we can say it as if it is an emirate, which is introduction, material method, results, and discussion. So what is the order of writing of your scientific research? Actually, we start by the introduction, and then we will go to the tables and figure to put it in our mind. What I'm going to do, I have to think about what I'm going to do, what is the shape of the tables and figures, how to collect the results. And then we are going to write the methods, and then to write the results and discussion. And actually the abstract is a part of the scientific paper that is written at the end of our scientific paper. So we'll start by the title page. So now, what is the title page of any research, any project, any thesis, etc.? It's composed of the title of the research, and then the authors, and then the institution. So we'll go in depth in each part of it in order to know how to write everyone. We are going to revise your data. Actually, I know that you know that, but we are going to revise your data. So if we go closer, we can find that this is the title in the red color, and then the name of the authors in the blue color, and then below that is the affiliation or the institution. So let us think about the title. The title of any research is considered the backbone of any research. Why? Because the title represents the first point of contact between you as an author and the readers and the editors and the reviewers of your title of your article. So it is very important to write a very precise and very concise and very illustrative title because it is the selling point of your article. The title should convey the maximum important point of your research, but with the minimum number of words. So how many words we should write in the title? Give me a range from
10 to 12.
Yes, it seems like that we are close.
20.
Pardon me?
I think
So the title,
no more
yes.
than 20 words.
Not more than 20 words. 20 words are too much, less than 20 words, not more than 20 words, yes. But what is the range? The title should be from 8 to 15 words. It should be clear, short, concise, specific, comprehensive, informative, and it should accurately stating exactly what do you mean. And it should include the study design, which is better to have the study design in your research. And of course, it should contain the keywords. What is the keywords? What are the keywords? The keywords are the main words that is written in your article or the main objectives of your article. So we have to avoid, in writing our title, we have to avoid the jargons, the subtitles, the use of italic numbers or underline or abbreviations or using of date or using of nouns, too much nouns, etc. So the good title should be written in a very concise and very informative way. That's why we have many types of titles. We have the indicative title, the informative, the interrogative one, and the main title and subtitles. And you can choose whatever one of them according to your preference and according to your revision and according to what you find that it is more attractive to your readers. So let us give an example about the indicative title. The indicative title actually it indicates the subject matter of the paper, but it doesn't give any indication of any part of your result. And this is an example of indicative title. So the example says that the effectiveness of team-based learning on student acquisition of knowledge. So when I read this title, I will know that the researcher is going to test what is team-based learning on student, and he's going to measure the level of acquisition of knowledge on his student. So this is indicating what he's going to do, indicating what is the researcher is going to do. On the other hand, the informative title gives an indication of part of the result and part of the conclusion of the paper. And this is an example. Team-based learning is an effective method of teaching. So here, the researcher gives us an idea about part of the result of the research. So the indicative title is not giving us any idea about the result, just telling us what is the researcher is going to do. And the informative title is giving us part of the result of the researcher. On the other hand, the interrogative title is clearly asking question. For example, can team-based learning be an effective method for acquisition of knowledge? So it is in the form of question, and it is a very attractive title, but sometimes is not suitable for some journals and sometimes is not suitable for some thesis. So we have also the hanging title, which it appears to be the first in a series without actually saying so. And this is an example. We are using the same title, but in different format. So the effectiveness of team-based learning. And this is from the teacher perspective. So these are the four main different types of title. So which one is better? It's according to your preference, according to your way of thinking, according to what do you feel that it is more catchy and attractive to your audience. So these are collectively the four main types of titles. Just try to read them, and when you are going to write any title, just put it one time in the indicative form, and then in the informative form is an interrogative form and hanging form, and then you have to choose whatever one which is best for you and best for your audience. So let us practice now. What do you think about this title?
Indicative.
No, I'm not asking about the type of title. I'm asking about we have to critically appraise the title.
It's too
When
long.
I
I
say
think it's too long.
when I
It's too long
when I
with
say
extra details that can be removed. It can be more concise.
yes,
For example,
when
the
I
hazard ratio, I feel it's details that's not necessary. For example,
okay, when I say critically appraise, we are not saying that we are not judging. We are just critically appraised to know what is right and what should be modified and make it more professional. So Dr. Amira said it is very long, so it is very lengthy title. This is number one. What else?
Abbreviation.
There is many abbreviations. Yes. What else?
Assessment and comparison. Different methods.
What do you mean by that?
There's assessment and also there's a comparison.
It is not focused, you mean?
Yeah, not
Not focused on objectives. Yes. What
Yeah.
else?
Use of abbreviations.
Yes, we
Not clear.
many abbreviations. Yes. What else? So in order to revise this title, it is very lengthy title. And also we have to write the first word of each name or any part of it in a capital form. So assessment is right, but we have to write, for example, recurrence capital, P capital, bladder capital should be capital. So this is one of the items that we should know when writing the title. Also, we shouldn't put full stop at the end of the title. Okay, and in this title we can find many ins and many ands. You have to use all these ins and ands in the title. Okay, so this is not professional title. Okay, so comment on this title. What do you think? What do you think?
This is a good title, not too long, but there is a full stop at the end. Also, the words, not all words are capital letter.
Yes, so colon is in small letter, and on the other hand, off is capital letter, and off shouldn't be capital letter. Off should be small letter. Okay, and
Versus
corrosive is small letter,
In
should be capital letter. Any other
in
comment?
in and off
In
should
and
be
off.
small.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, right, you are right. So, and this is a concise title, but it has some problems in it. So, can you propose a title? Any one of you can you propose any title? Okay, can you propose a title for that? What do you think? Think
effect
about
of
the
Effect of
photo and
smoking.
propose a title.
Effect of passive smoking on children.
effect of passive smoking on children. So if I'm going to do this type of research, what type of research I'm going to do? Is it an experimental research or observational research?
Observational, I think.
Observation.
It should be an observational research. So what I'm going to do?
We can
Two
design it
two
as two
group.
groups. One group have family member smoker, so they are
Yes.
exposed to smoking, and
Yes.
another group children matched
Yes.
with them, but they don't have any smokers in the region, and we can follow them up. So it's cohort.
It's a cohort study. Yes, right. So this is not an experimental study. It should be an observational study. So as you say, we have a group of children in families who have the father or the mother or anybody of the family are smoker, and we are going to follow them for a certain time. And we have another group of family with no smoker in them, and we are going to follow the children for certain time. Okay, so we have two groups here. They are exposed to different environment. The first group are exposed, the children are exposed to smoking. The second group, children are not exposed to smoking. So this is a cohort study because there are two different environmental factors here, okay? So this is a cohort study. Any question? Or any clarification or any comments? So is it clear?
Yes,
This example
doctor.
is clear?
Yes, clear.
Okay, so now we are going to propose another title of this. What do you think? Can you propose any title? Now we are practicing how to have a title and how to design a research methodology according to the title and according to the photo.
We can say assessment of a relationship between obesity and fast food among children.
Yes, very nice. Any other opinion?
We can say, is there a correlation between fast food and obesity in children in the form of question?
Yes, excellent. What else? I want to propose a title according to the four main titles that we mentioned. So I want the first title to be an indicative one, then informative one, then interrogative one, then hanging title. So who will tell us about the indicative title?
Okay, effect of junk food on children regarding obesity.
Okay, so we can say it like that. Effect of fast food on children body mass index. Can we say that?
Yes, okay.
So effect of fast food on children body mass index. We don't know what is the effect, but we are going to study that. Okay, what kind of study design is this? Is it an experimental study or observational study?
It's observational.
Observational.
It is observational study. Of course, we are going to follow up the children who are eating too much fast food, and we are going to follow them as regards their body mass index. So it is an observational study. So we want the same title, but in informative form. So we said the indicative. So we said the indicative title. We want the informative title.
I have a hanging title. Fast food, a causative factor for obesity in children.
Fast food is a causative factor.
Not
where
is
is the title? Where is the rest of the title?
Fast food, not 10, 2 points. A causative factor for obesity in children.
A causative effect for obesity in children. Fast food. Yes, Dr. Shaima. Yes, I think this is a good title, but can you make it more long title, more lengthy title, to be more informative and at the same time to be hanging title?
Okay. Eating fast food. A risk, a great a harmful effect on children.
Can we say it fast food or effect of having fast food? And we can say it to continue, for example, multicentric study, or we can say it from what we call it
An
from
observation study.
this is yes, an observational study, you can say it like that. So this is how to write a hanging title. Okay, thank you so much. Can we give us, who will give us an informative title? Informative title. You will tell us something about the result, and the result is clear.
Maybe we can say,
Yes, please.
yeah, maybe we can say a high intake of fast food increase the risk of obesity among children.
Excellent. So you are giving us some of the results of the title. So high intake of fast food will increase the obesity risk, or it would increase the body mass index, or whatever, or the effect of taking fast food on the body mass index. We can say it increase the body mass index. So you give us something which is informative about the result of the research. So is this an experimental study or observational study?
Observation.
It is an observational study, of course. So can we give us, thank you so much. Who will give us an interrogative title?
Doctor, can we say a predictive model of risk factor on obesity? Because when you will take all demographic factor, and one of this and a contextual factor, and one of this is instead of narrowing the research only on risk of effect of fast food, we can put it in terms of predictive model, maybe the family history, maybe
yes, we can say, of course, we can say that, but we are going to talk now about the title. We are making too concise in order to practice how to write a title.
Predictive model of risk factor and obesity.
Yes, we can say that, no problem. This is a very good observational research, and you are going to study many other factors like the family history, like the genetic factor, like the food, etc. But now we are practicing how to write a title for anything. So taking a photo like that and the previous one, you can practice. You can, while you are sitting like that, you can practice to write a title and to think about the different types of titles. Because the title, as we said, is the selling point of your research. So it is very important to know how to write a good title. Okay, so the take-home message of this part is that effective titles should be short, specific, complete, informative, representative, unambiguous, and it should grab the reader's attention. And also, as we said before, if I want a title, I can ask for the help of artificial intelligence. Any one of the sites that we mentioned before, like ChatGPT, like Gemini, like SciSpace, like Genie, like Research Rabbit or OpenRead, all these sites and many more can help you to write a good title. And just propose, I am a professor of so and so, and I want to do research on so and so, and propose a title. And of course, don't take it, as I said before, don't take it for granted. You have to, it's just helping you. You can modify it, and you can ask for more titles, and you can ask for more sites in order to help you to write the title. But the unique thing in having a title is to write it by yourself. So as we said before, the title page should include the title, the authors, and the institution. Now we have a major problem. Who should be the author? And who should go first? And who should go last? So who want to answer this question? Who should be the author of any research? And this is called authorship. The authorship are the people who are responsible for writing the research and revising the research and to put their name on the research. Who should be the author?
The one who has the idea.
And what else?
Maybe the primary investigator.
The main investigator, yes. What else?
Supervisor.
Supervisor, yes. What else?
Leader of the team.
The leader of the team. Maybe. What else?
The author is the one who has clear work and clear participation in the work done.
Yes, excellent. What else?
Assistant.
Assistant, yes. What else? And of all these groups, who should go first and who goes last? So you said the team leader, the one who has the idea, the one who did the research, the whoever, the senior one, the junior one, who should go first?
The first author is the PI, principal investigator, who drafted the manuscript from the scratch. The last author may be the senior author who is has a leadership in this project.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Shaima. Actually, there are some regulations for that. And there is one committee which calls the International Committee of Medical Journal Editors, the ICMGE, and it declared who should be the authors. And they define the author should be one of those category, the one who proposed or drafts the idea, the one who did the data collection and analysis of the data, the one who wrote the manuscript, the one who revised the manuscript. So any one of these should be the author. But who goes first? The first author, the one who designed and conceived the study and write the first draft and partner with the last author for subsequent drafts. The last author usually is the experienced investigator who is the most senior one. And the second author should be according to his contribution. Is it a major contribution? The third author who have important contribution, but not major contribution. And in the middle authors, everyone who shared in the research. So there is some regulation about that. So now we talked about the title of the manuscript, and now we will move to the introduction. How to write the introduction part. A good introduction actually is half of the success. And actually, it is very easy to write the introduction. The introduction of the manuscript should be from 1 to 2, maximum 3 pages, and it could be written in 3 or 5 major elements. So how to write it? If you are going to write it in 3 elements, we will write what we know about the subject and what we don't know about the subject, which is the research gap, and why we did this study. And actually, I prefer this one, to write it in a term of 5 watts, and it make it more easier and more specific and more fast in order to write your research. So in the introduction, I prefer to write it in 5 watts. Number one, what is the problem? And number 2, to explain what is the importance of this problem. That's why I made this research in this problem, because it is important. Number 3, what was tried before to solve the problem by others. And this is called the gap. Others did some study in this problem specifically, but there are many gaps or one gap. So I'm going to bridge this gap. The question, the fourth one is, what are you going to do to solve the problem? So you will say, I'm going to do so and so, I'm going to do randomized controlled study, I'm going to do experimental study, I'm going to follow up study, I'm going to do multicentric study, etc. And then the fifth one is, what is your expectation in doing this research? So if you cover all these 5 watts in an inverted funnel shape, you will write a very good introduction. What is the problem? What is the importance of the problem? What was tried before to solve the problem by others? And what is the gap? What are you going to do to solve the problem? And what are you going to do? And how do you know that you succeeded in doing this, in solving this problem? So data is looking like that. So also, the introduction is written in a paragraphs, and every paragraph shouldn't exceed 10 lines. And this is the shape of the paragraph. If you want to write it answering three questions, like what we know, what we don't know, why we did that to solve the problem, you can do it in 3 or more paragraphs. So you can write 1 or 2 paragraphs in the first one, 1 or 2 in the second one, and 1 or 2 in the third one, or as I told you, and I prefer to write it in the form of what's. And we have to remember here that every paragraph should contain at the end of it 1 or 2 or maybe more of references. Also, we have to know that the introduction should be written in the present tense. If I'm going to tell something which is historical, of course, I will write it in a past tense, but usually the introduction is written in the present tense. And we have to know that we don't have to copy, because this will lead us to plagiarism problems. So we have to do some paraphrasing. So what is paraphrasing? Don't take the paragraph as it is and put it in your research. No, this is will be plagiarism. So how to paraphrase? Actually, we have many steps to do paraphrasing. Either to do it manually by reading the original text and understand it and understand the key points and the main idea, and then to summarize the article using your own words, and then to write the key points, and then to combine the keywords with your summary and to write it by your own. And of course, we have to put the reference here. Or we can use online paraphrasing tool. This is before the AI era. We have many paraphrasing tools like paraphrasingonline.com, and you in the upper bar, in the blank bar, you can put whatever paragraph you want and then click paraphrase, and it will come like that. It will be paraphrased. And also there is another tool like the rephrase.org. You can use this one in order to paraphrase whatever you want. Okay, so but now with artificial intelligence, again, we have many places and many tools to help you to paraphrase whatever you want, like the size space. The size space can help in literature review, and it can help in doing structure of your work, and it can help in paraphrasing. Also, Cite can help you to answer question about any paper, and it can help you also to paraphrase. And there are many other sites like the Copilot that also can help you to paraphrase. The Paper Pal also can help you to paraphrase and to do citation management, etc. So we have many sites to help you in that like Claude, like Aethor. It can help you in topic generation, in text generation, in citation generation, and also it can help you to humanize. What is humanize? To change whatever the AI writing into whatever like the human writing. So it can help you to humanize. But also the new DeepSeek, which is a Chinese one, is an excellent one for paraphrase. But I recommend that everything that we obtain from the AI, we have to revise it and we have to paraphrase it again in order to have it in a right way and a professional way, and don't put ourselves in the plagiarism problem. So again, we have to revise everything, and we have to use again plagiarism checker, and we have many plagiarism checker on the AI, and the best one is the Turnitin, which is very professional one, but it is, I think, it needs an institution share in this one. And in order to finish this part, the take-home message, the introduction will highlight the following points: the importance of the subject, the previous studies, the gap in the literature. It defines a problem to be solved. It formulates a hypothesis. It defines what your study will add, and it will summarize the previous studies, and it will help to highlight what are you going to do in your research. So the general rule of introduction is to keep it brief. and to use in the present tense, and to use the past tense for the previous findings, and to use the active voice as much as possible. Avoid lengthy and unfocused part and lengthy and unfocused paragraphs, and then repeat the keywords and revise many times. So now we finish the title and the introduction, and we will have 15 minutes for Maghrib pray now. We'll have 15 minutes for pray, and we'll come back after 15 minutes.
Okay, doctor. Thank you.
السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم
Let's get
السلام.
started. Let's get started. We will continue our journey in writing the scientific manuscript, and now we are going to move to the material and method section. So any question about the title or the introduction section?
No, Prof.
No, thank you. شكرا.
Okay, so we'll continue to the material and method section, and actually this can be the cause of rejection of any research. That's why it should be written in a very professional way. So in order to write it professionally, we have to divide it into 4 sections. Number 1, full description of the material or the subject or the patient or whatever, and full description of the methodology, and then full description of the data collection tool and how to analyze this data, and then the ethical point of view of your research. So these are the basic component of the material and method section. Of course, we need to highlight the time factor that we use and the end point when we finish the research. So let us discuss in detail every one of these components. Number 1, the subject, the sample origin, and the field side of the study. We have to know what is called the target population and the study population and the sample population. So the target population are the population who are mostly exposed to something. For example, if I'm saying that student in a faculty of medicine could be our target population. Study population could be part of this student, which means that students who are enrolled in the first semester, in the second semester, so this could be the study population from the target population who are the main or the holistic number of students in the faculty of medicine. The sample population are the subject or the sample who were recruited to collect from them in the study. For example, sample population are taken from the study population who are taken from the target population. So if I'm going to study something in faculty of medicine, this is on the student of faculty of medicine, this will be my target population. I will choose student in semester 4, for example. It could be 1,000 students. So I will select them, which could be 100 students from all these 1,000 students, and this could be my sample population. So the target population are the whole population who are involved in something or in certain environment, and then the study population are some of them, and then my sample will taken from the study population. So this is the sample origin. So it could be a student, it could be patient, it could be whatever. It could be test in whatever. So our study in study sample should represent the whole population. So as you see this photo, if I'm saying that this is the sample of this population, this is not a representative sample of this population because they are all males. Those are population are males and females and children, etc. So this sample could not represent this population. But on the other hand, this sample could represent this population because this sample including males, females, and children. So this sample is representative for this population. So that's why having a sample is very important. That's why we have 2 kinds of sampling, either the probability sample or non-probability sample. So the probability sample are not usually representative of the whole population. It could be a convenience sample, it could be a quota sample or snowball sample. But on the other hand, the probability sample are usually representing the whole population. And it could be a simple randomization or stratified sampling or cluster sampling or systematic sampling. So what about the non-probability sample. The convenience sample are any sample that you are taking at your convenience. For example, some patient in your clinic or some student in your class, etc. So they are convenience sample. You didn't do any randomization or anything like that. On the other hand, the quota sample are when you are deciding to do a study, for example, 200 students, and you find 200 students from any place. So this is the quota sample. You are just completing your quota or the number of the samples that you want to finish. Snowball sample is that if you have some student and you ask them to bring your friends to the study, so this is looks like a snowball. So it's also a convenient sample and it is non-probability. So this is not a representative sample for the whole population. But anyway, we can use a non-probability sample in many researches in the qualitative kind of research. But on the other hand, the probability sample is more specific and more representative for the whole for the population that we want to study, and that's why we call it we have some of them a random sample. If we have a student, for example, in class 6 or in semester 4, and you are randomly selecting some of them, so this is a randomized sample, and it could represent the whole population of class 6 or semester 4. Also, we have from the probability sample, the stratified random sample. For example, if I'm classifying the classes into strata, for example, semester 1, I will take some of them, semester 2, I will take some of them, and semester 3, etc. So this is called a stratified random sample. We have the cluster sample from the probability sample also, and this is used on the study for large geographically places. For example, we have many provinces. We can take some from Garbeya province, for example, and from Sharqiya province, and from Cairo province, etc. So this is called a cluster sample. Or the systematic sample, if we put the patient, the whole patient, or the whole student, or whoever the sample in a systematic way, and we are going to choose, for example, number 1, number 5, number 10, number 14, etc. So this is called a systematic sample. So now we have two major types of sample, the non-probability sample and the probability sample, and usually we prefer in the quantitative research the probability sample, but for the qualitative research, sometimes we can use the non-probability sample. So the condition for choosing a sample, it should be representative, which is much better than the non-probability sample. It should be of generalization, which means that I can generalize my result on the whole population, and we should avoid the sampling error. And there are many calculation formula for calculating the sample size, many of them, and you can use many of the websites to calculate your sample, like the OpenAI sample or the G-Power or anything. And also you can use the AI to select or to calculate the sample size. So the first part of the material and method, we have to highlight the sample origin, the sample size, and the field of the study. So this is number 1. If I'm going to do randomization, which is a process by randomly allocating some subject for the study group and another or some group of subject for the control group, I have to highlight which type of randomization did I use. Did I use a sealed envelope or the random number tables or the computer program? So if you are going to do randomization, and of course randomization is suitable more for the clinical trials and for experimental study. So we have to mention which type of randomization did we use in our study. And there are many softwares to use in order to do some randomization. Also, in the material and method, we have to highlight which type of study design we used. Either we used qualitative research, and which type of qualitative research, either experimental or observational, Is it quasi-study or observational like the cohort study or case control study or cross-sectional study or whatever? Or the quantitative type of research like, for example, the ethnography or the grounded theory or anything? Or we are going to mix both types of study in order to have a mixed type of study. So whatever type of study I use, I have to put it and highlight it precisely in my methodology part. And as we said, we can ask the help for artificial intelligence for defining which type of study design we can use. The third part of the material and method, we have to highlight the data collection protocol and data analysis technique and description of equipment. If I use any equipment, if I use any questionnaire, I have to highlight which type of questionnaire did I use and put the reference of this questionnaire. Or if I am inventing this questionnaire, I have to say whatever the type of this questionnaire and the validation tool of this questionnaire and which computer program I used for doing that. So I have to highlight which type of data gathering technique I used. Is it survey, observational study, interviews, whatever, I have to explain it in a precise way. If I use questionnaire, as I said, I can use artificial intelligence to do my questionnaire and to do the data analysis. And I can use the site which is called the juries for analyzing the data or for doing some qualitative data analysis, etc. The last part of the material and method is to, if I'm working with patient or student or anything like that, I have to say what informed consent I used, and I have to say that I assure the privacy and confidentiality of the participant of the study, and I have to say if I expected some risk in this study. So the take-home message of this part is that in the material and method part, I have to highlight the time, the duration of the study, and the sample origin, the sample size, and the design, if it is a sensible design, which type of study design I used, and if I used any statistical analysis, I have to say what type of statistical analysis I used in my research. So this completes the part of the title, the introduction, and the material and method part. Now we will move to the result part, and I will stop sharing this part, and I will share another presentation. And if you have any question for this part, just feel free to ask. Any question? Can you see the slides?
Yes, it's clear.
Yes.
So do you have any questions?
No, thank
Any
you, ma'am.
comments? So we'll continue our results. And actually, the result is considered the heart of any research. And the result should include only the data or numbers that support your research. So we'll begin with the most important result, and we have to keep focus. And of course, in the result, we use the graphs and tables. So now we will highlight some of the data about the graphs and tables. This is called the anatomy of the table. The table should contain body in the middle, and then the table title should be on the top of the page. And this is an example of good table, actually. The good table should stand alone without explaining the table with text. And they said usually that when one table should be written for every 100 words. The table should be descriptive, and there is no lines in the middle of the table. Remove all the internal lines, and you can keep the footnote to the minimum. If you are focusing on this table, it is explaining many things. It's explaining the age of the participant or the sample. It's explaining their gender. It's explaining their race. It's explaining their history, and many things that is explained in this table. So this is an illustrative table, and it can be used to help you to save many of the text that you are going to write. And this is the figure, and it has also anatomy. It has the y-axis and x-axis, and it has small text and major text and minor text, and it can be formulated as regard the data that you are going to use. There are many types of figures that we can use. This is again the anatomy of the figure, and you can use the bar graph, the frequency histogram, the XY scatter plot, or the XY line graph. This is a bar graph. Again, bar graph. This is the frequency histogram, XY scatter block, and XY line graph. Which one I can use? I can use according to the data that I have. Sometimes we use this one. This is called the bar graph, and it is easy to be used and very convenient to be used also. If I'm going to use any photos, it should be very illustrative and very unique and very clear. There shouldn't be no flaws in any photo. Of course, also, if I want to have some which is algorithm like that, I can do algorithm which is summarize many of the data that I can use. So in order to highlight some important data for the result, figures and tables are actually a powerful communication tools, and it gives a manuscript the professional feel. It attracts usually the reader's attention. As a reviewer, we usually read the title of the manuscript, and then we look at the tables and figures, and then go back to the abstract, and then go back to the introduction, etc. So writing a good or formulating a good tables and putting a good figures are very important. Tables usually summarize the details, and figures give good impression of your work. And of course, we have to know that the legend of the figure should be written at the bottom of the photo, and the legend of the table should be written at the top of the photo. And you can, if you want to write figure, you can write figure like that, or you can write it FIG, but the table should be written table as it is. So tables and figures must be sufficiently clear, well labeled, and convey as much information as possible. And we should use a font which is one size smaller than the text than we use. So this goes with the result. What about the discussion? The discussion actually is a very difficult part to be written. it means what does the work mean? And it usually addresses every point of your result separately. So it is an explanation of the result. And it is explanation of the relationship of your result with each other. And it is highlighting the relationship of what you have done with the relationship of what others has been done. So here in the discussion, at the first part of the discussion, we have to restate again the research question and to restate again why we did this research and what was the gap in the literature that helps us to do this research. So the discussion should be written in the present tense, and it also should be 2 or 3 pages and should be structured. It should summarize the main finding, and you have to write what is the comparative point between you and the major player in the field. The major players are the people who did work similar to your work before. So we have to highlight also in the discussion the points of strength and the points of weakness or limitation of your research, and to discuss the clinical implication or whatever you have in your future thought. So in order to do that, we can write it in 5 paragraphs. For example, 1 paragraph for summarizing the main finding, 1 paragraph, 1 or 2 summarizing the supporting finding, 1 or 2 paragraph for what are the implication or what does it change in your practice or the other practice, and to write 1 paragraph for the limitation and for the conclusion. So now the conclusion must fulfill the promises of the introduction. The conclusion should be precisely and clearly written and should include the essential point, and the research question should be mentioned again in the conclusion. That tells you that the research question should be written in the introduction, it should be written in the material methods, it should be written in the discussion, and it should be written in the conclusion. That's why the research question is very important. So what about the reference? We'll go through the references very quickly, and we have to know that references are needed in the introduction part, in the methodology part, and in the discussion part. So in the introduction part, we have to mention it because we have to highlight what was the gap in the previous literature. So it is needed in the introduction. So in the methodology part, it's needed if you are going to use some methods that has been used before or questionnaire that has been used before, you need to put this reference in your methodology part. And it is needed, of course, in the discussion in order to compare your result with others. So you are comparing whatever we did with the other players in the field. There are 2 main types of writing the references, either the Harvard method, in which you write the name of the author and the date, and or the numerical part, which is the Vancouver method. So this is the Harvard method. So you write something, paragraph, and you write the name of the author at the end. This is the Harvard method. There is no numbers in it. It is non-numerical. So you write the name and the date. Monir, 2007. Jack and Mike, 1985, etc. And as regard the Vancouver method, you write it numerical. So these are the numbers, 16, 17, 10, etc. So these are the difference between both of them, the Harvard method and Vancouver method. So which one is better? It is according to the journal that you are going to submit your research in it. Before submitting any research or any article in any journal, you have to read whatever called the letter to the authors or the instructions to the authors. So I have to read that before submitting my paper in order to know which type of references they are using. Either they are using the Vancouver method or the Harvard method. They are using which type of writing method. For example, you can superscript it or you can put it in between 2 brackets, whatever type of they are using. So you have to follow whatever the journal is required. Also, you can use the reference manager, which is facilitating very much using writing your research. Either you can use the EndNote or Mendeley or Zotero, and Mendeley actually is freemium and Zotero is free. It's totally free. So Zotero is actually is a friendly user, and you can use it very free, no problem in it. So in order to write the acknowledgement part, we are writing the acknowledgement for whoever technical help or equipment or financial support, etc., and for the administrative support. So this leads us to the end of this presentation or the end of writing your research. The last part is the abstract. Why we are making the abstract at the end? Because it is summary of your research. We are using abstracts in two situations. The first one is the abstract for the conferences, and the second one is the abstract for the manuscript. So the abstract is a synopsis of a longer piece of work, and it should stand alone, should tell everything, So why it is important? Because sometimes it is the only link between you and your readers, because many sites, they only put the abstract on their on website or etc. And abstract helps the reader to decide whether to read your paper or not. And abstract actually helps the editor to decide to continue reading your paper or not. And abstract, sometimes it is the only part of the article that is accessible on the electronic library. So abstract is considered, as the title, is a selling part of your article. And we have two main types of abstracts. We have actually many types, but we are going to focus on these two main types. We have the graphical abstract. We will discuss it, inshallah, in the residential session. This is the non-structured abstract. It's just a paragraph or two paragraphs like that. But what we usually do is a structured abstract, which is classified into four parts. The purpose or the background, the first part. Second part is the material and method part. The third part is the result part, and the fourth part is the conclusion part. So in the background and the hypothesis part, we have to write what is the value of the study, and we have to write the research question. So we highlight what is the aim of the study. In the methodology part, we are writing the basic design and the basic methodology of the study. In the result part, we write the key quantitative result, what was found, but in a very short and very concise way. And in the conclusion part, of course, we are writing what is the conclusion of the research in a concise way. So an abstract should stand alone. It should have no technical details, no abbreviations, no citations, of course, no tables, no figures, no illustration, and no references. So now we finished everything about the structure of the scientific paper, but there are some parts we have to remember. We have to know that the abstract tells the readers about what did I do and find out. And the introduction tells the readers about what is the problem. Material and method tells how did I solve the problem. Results tells the readers what did I find out. And discussion tells the readers what is my result meant. And the introduction should be written in a present tense. The methodology and the result should be written in the past tense, and the discussion should be written in the present tense. Also, the conclusion is written in the present tense. So we have the introduction, the discussion and conclusion should be written in the present tense, and the methodology and result in the past tense. Now we have to highlight the ethical point of writing the research. As we said, we have some ethical problem in the authorship, in the scientific misconduct like fabrication, falsification, and plagiarism. So we should avoid what is called the gift author, the guest author, and the ghost author. So what is that? Gift author or gift authorship is a co-authorship awarded to a person who has no contribution whatsoever in the study. Just you are writing somebody's name in order in the next time he is going to do his research and he will write this name. And this is completely unethical. So what about the ghost author? Ghost authors are those who participate in the research, data analysis, and or writing a manuscript, but are not named or disclosed. So these are persons who participated, but they didn't write their name on the research, and this is completely unethical. What is the guest authorship? Are those who did not share in the research, but you write their names because they have a big name or something like that, the head of the department, etc. So this is also unethical. So we have three types of authorship which are unethical: the guest, the gift, and the ghost. Also, whatever we write our research, we have to avoid fabrication, which making up the data like that one. So we are making the data to make it more statistically legible, which is not ethical. Also, fabrication of the data or falsification of the data, which is removing some of the data in order to make it more statistically significant, which is not legible. Also, we have to avoid plagiarism, which is appropriation of the language, idea, thoughts, etc. And we said we can do some paraphrasing or changing, but we have to keep changing in the format of the research, but we have to respect the main author or to write the reference of whatever we take our data from. So to wrap up, we had an overview on how to write a well-structured research for publication. And we started from having an idea, writing your research question, having idea about the research methodology and research design, having an idea about how to collect data and data analysis, and then we went through how to write your research manuscript from A to Z, starting from the title till the conclusion. So, and we know also that we can have the help of artificial intelligence in idea generation, in literature review, in methodology assistance, in literature writing, in every part of the research, and we have many tools for helping us in doing that. So the last take-home message: before submitting my research for publication, I have to ask myself, is this research is of interest for whom? So to choose my journal in order to submit my article in, I have to know which journal I'm going to submit my article in. Is it of interest to those people or not? And I have to ask myself, what was the gap and why I did this research? And is my result are legible or not? And what are the implications of my research? Could it be generalizable for the whole population or not? And I have also to ask myself that what is the benefit of my research and what is my second move in order to have my research published. So convey your thoughts and idea in a manner that will not confuse the reader is very important. I have to revise what I have written. I can upload it in any AI tool that I mentioned in order to rephrase it, or it will give you some points for revision, and you can revise it, so you can have the help of anyone who is expert or the AI, etc. So you have to read it many times. So now you have an idea and you conduct a study and you write your paper, and you have to be sure that you make a difference. So at the end, you can celebrate publication of your paper. Which paper you are going to choose to publish your paper in, we are going to discuss that in the residential session. We will give you many places in order to submit your research in. But anyway, you are requested to write your abstract and to submit it to the really good stuff. And in the really good stuff, they required some points to be written, a certain format to be written. But anyway, you can practice writing this, and you can, if you want any help, you can send me your abstract. I can revise it. Feel free to send it. I can revise it. And then at the residential session, inshallah, we'll give you many places and many journals that is more interesting in order to submit your abstract or scientific article in it. This is the end of our research, our lecture today. So if you have any question or you have any inquiries, feel free to ask.
What about the recommendation? It is important or not?
It is according to the research. If you find that it is important to write some recommendation, it will be helpful. But if you find that there is no need for writing recommendations, so it's okay.
Okay.
The most important part of the recommendation is to highlight the limitation, because this limitation will help the other researcher to start from this point. This limitation could be the gap in your research, and it will help another researcher to start from your end point to start another research. So what is very important is to highlight the gap in your literature or the limitation of your literature, of your research.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Any other question? Any reflection?
Thank you, my dear Prof. Excellent as usual. Really, we need more and more of this session. But I request for how to write a good proposal to be accepted in many situations. Is it pass in the same way we study here?
Yes, of course. This is a basic, and this is actually my references are from something which is the guidelines, the international guidelines, as we mentioned. So if we follow these items, though we need more elaboration on many aspects, but if we know this, if we follow these basic items, we can have a very good article for publication.
I mean, focus on proposal about application in different way.
Yes, that's what I said. That we told you about the basic. This is the basic information that we can follow on writing any article. So if we follow these simple 1, 2, 3 items, we can have a very well written article. And now actually it is very easy than before. There are many sites, as I said, like the Copilot or the Research Rapid. If you just upload your research and ask for revision, and many reviewers now are using the AI for revision, you can ask for revision and it will give you the feedback, how to improve this part and how to improve this part. It's now very easy to write and to revise your research than before. And it is okay if you have feedback from the AI and you can modify your research according to the instructions, no problem.
Thank you, Doctor.
Any other questions or any other comments? So thank you so much, and see you in the residential session, inshallah. Thank you so much, and have a nice evening.
إن شاء الله.
Okay,
Thank you,
doctor. Thank you
Dr.
very much.